You know, the video that we're going to show you today is about shoeing. Oh my goodness, what could be said about good shoeing? But I know that when we got Aaron to shoe our horses, it just nearly cut our vet bills as far as injections go to hocks, stifles, knees, ankles, feet. It just about cut it in half. And that's a lot of savings for you when you can get the good shoer. So we hope you enjoyed today and that you can really learn that a horse, his life is about his feet. Hi everybody, we're here today with our #1 miracle worker, horseshoer Aaron Lohmann. And you know, with Phoebe, this is where we really started learning our lessons about shoeing and how bad shoeing causes soreness. We went through a lot of that with Phoebe. So with Bixby, we're kind of on top of that, but Bixby has some of the same problem that Phoebe had, in that she has a low heel, wants to just kind of all grow toe, and how much soreness that creates up in the shoulders and the neck and the back. It's just a mess if you don't have that really fixed. And so Aaron, he's going to really work today to explain it. You might have to listen real close. You might have to run it back 2 or 3 times to really absorb what he's going to say, because I don't want to say it because I'm not the horseshoer. But we're going to try to understand it from the horseshoer perspective today. Aaron? Well, I'm going to let Aaron talk about the kind of shoes that we're putting on Bixby and why we're using these particular ones.
We're just going with a flat shoe just because she's young. We don't want a lot of grab in the back. We still want her to be able to slide a little bit. That way we're not jamming up any of this back up their SI joint and her hocks. It's a little easier on her. We start putting too much traction on one too quick and you start having problems. So this shoe is just a flat shoe, not real thick, has a little slide to it. It is longer on the outside branch. I like that because feet are not symmetrical. They're always longer on the outside, so I'd like a shoe that represents that. All right, so this horse wants to be low heel, a little bit long toe, dishes a little bit. So we're constantly working on bringing his toe back and kind of get him up underneath himself. When I look at him, I want to look at proportions. I want a nice straight pastern and hoof angle. And I want the toe length and the heel length to be in proportion. So one way to look at that is if you look at your horse from the side and you look at his shoulder, from the point of his withers to the point of his shoulder, you ought to be able to draw a straight line. That line ought to be the same as your pastern angle and your hoof wall angle. So that gives you a reference point of where you're looking for if he stood up enough or too much. So another thing we do is we go on proportions. I use this little tool, it's called the golden means. And I can measure the toe length, the widest part, and all this should intersect. Where if all that lines up, everything is within balance. So, and I can show you on the bottom of the foot to match it.
One thing about this and why this is important is because they're paying all the money, sometimes in the 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, all that money is paid in 1/10 of a second. That's 4 feet at speed. So if they pay 10 monies, that means that 10 horses finish within this 4 feet of each other. That's being very competitive. And so part of that being competitive is, you know, we talked about the skill in the saddle. We talked about, you know, you got to think better. But this is take better care of your horses. And so we let Aaron shoe all of our horses, regardless of where they're at in their training. because it's important for these feet to get corrected.
Yeah. So, going back on what I was saying, hoof wall and heel length, we want to look at where he is. All this should come in balance. That toe's a little long, that heel is a little bit short. So we work to bring all that together. We'll leave heel on, pull toe back. And when we do that, that not only changes the hoof angle, it also changes this pastern angle. And that is going to change his shoulder angle, which is going to keep you from getting sore up through here in your back. So.
Okay. You want a trimmer right quick?
Trim them.
As far as like the texture of the hoof wall and the sole, Aaron, does that look healthy to you?
It does. He's got a little separation right through here, just because low angles create weak walls.
Okay.
You get a horse good and balanced, their feet are going to be a lot healthier.
Well, I hope you got that wrong angles create weak walls. That's a nugget right there for somebody.
All right, so I don't feel like I can take that toe down any further. So what we'll do is we'll bevel it and come back and kind of bring our shoe back to match it. See how all that lined up?
Yep.
So your hoof wall length is basically the length of the frog. And from the point of the frog to your white line or to your tip of your foot should be your heel length.
Oh, okay.
So that all corresponds with the coffin bone inside the foot. This shape of your white line and your hairline is also the shape of the coffin bone. So we use all that as guidelines.
That's awesome.
So smooth that foot up a little bit. We trim the bottom of the foot and we put our bevel in it where we wanted the length to be. So then I just rasped the bottom half or bottom third to match the top third and to come back to my bevel. It'll all line up just for the proportion. So the top 2/3 of your hoof wall always match the angle of the coffin bone, whether it's a foundered horse, any of it. Okay. So if we can make the bottom third of it match, your angles are going to fall together pretty quick. So we trim this horse. He was a little run forwards. Here, stand up straight. He's still a little low in the heel. Come here. But we're a lot closer than what we were. So it's a work in progress. We just have to keep on them.
Yep, I would imagine like Bigsby's whole life, this is going to be something that has to be looked at every time you shoe her.
Yes, every time we shoe her, we'll address it and work towards perfection, which may not always ever get there, but if we don't ever work at it.
Yep, and from like an owner point of view, what I'm wanting in Bixby, I know unlike some people, is I'm wanting, you know, a real longevity to her life. I don't want her to break down. I don't want her to bow a tendon or pull a...
You can strain a suspensory. Strain a
suspensory, or isn't there something hooked up to that little bursa in there?
Yeah, there's an impar ligament. There's a lot of ligaments and
lots of things in that foot that can go wrong. But
yep.
The fix, and the thing that we're going to always have to stay on top of, is her angles on these feet, backing that toe up.
Yep. So what we'll do when we shoe her, we'll give that toe a little bit of a roll starting here, and then also fit her back to here. So that shoe is going to fit underneath that foot and that leg where she should be.
Yes.
And
we don't live in a perfect world here. So that ability to just do it perfect, I know, because we have naysayers that say don't fall off the outside of that hoof wall. But we don't live in that world. We have all these really great athletic horses with imperfect feet, and so you just have to do the best that you can with what is there to work with. And so for her to not be sore up in there, we've got to kind of do the imperfect thing down here to make it all perfect, in a way, if you can follow that.
Yes, and we could put wedges on her and make her look pretty and make her stand up. But with every pro, there's a con. So she's not used to being that way. So we start loading the suspensory or overloading the digital cushion and crush the heels more. So I think with a simple shoeing plan and good trimming, we accomplish a lot more faster. I burn it on so that we get a good marriage between the foot and the shoe. It also helps kill any bad bacteria in the foot. Then I put a rolled toe on this shoe, or a rocker toe actually. It makes a good seat between that shoe and the foot. I can check my fit and check. When I burn it on, it also leaves little indentions where the nail holes are, so I can make sure all my nails are in the right spot and not too close. On heel fit, I wanted to come to the back of the frog, so that's where we're wanting our heels. This supports the back of the foot. We start coming back too far, it works as leverage and it'll start kind of crushing the heels. So it's a kind of a happy medium you got to play with. We rocker the toe, and that's where we started our rocker lines up so that we have our angle, which is going to match this angle. Even though we still have some toe out in front of it, that foot starts breaking over where it needs to be. So it takes all the pressures off the back of the foot, takes it off the deep flexor tendon, which is strained by having a long toe anyhow.
Could you talk for a minute about if you think that coronary band will respond to low angles, like will it get puffy or things happen?
Yeah, it can stress the coffin joint. I haven't.
Not the time to do that.
I haven't ever really seen the coronet band change from it. Normally, when you get waves in your coronet band, it's because there's high spots in the foot. The foot wasn't flat, so it's jammed up.
Well, I know in a lot of barrel horses, you see on this coronary band, you'll see this part be like, it looked like my little finger is kind of laying up underneath there.
Yeah.
It'll get puffy here. It'll be normal out here.
Sometimes that can be fluid in the coffin joint, and that can be caused from angles being wrong. But sometimes an abscess fixing to blow out, it'll swell up like that. Sometimes if they have a little side bone, and a lot of running horses that take a lot of impact, they'll develop side bone, and you'll notice that up through here.
Okay. Well, I know there's a joint up underneath that hairline.
Yep.
And so, I don't know, sometimes I think just watching people, you know, just work their horses, even trotting, you can almost see problems with those angles, the way those horses move through those turns. We win barrel races turning, so
yeah,
we want those feet, it's in that turn, those feet are like this.
yep.
In the straightaway strides, they're like this. So those angles have to be good for this, just like they have to be good for this.
Exactly. Yeah, if you, even though you may have your toes short, if you have a lot of foot coming out here flaring, that foot has to break over in all different directions.
Right.
So we try to make the bottom of the foot the same shape as the hairline, and that represents the coffin bone inside the foot. So that foot can function the way it needs to.
Good.
If we leave foot outside that is leverage. Leverage is hard on joints, tendons, ligaments. So back feet we look for the same thing as far as angles. From the knee and the hock down, the legs are identical. The only difference is foot shape. We got front feet are round, basically because they need to turn. Back feet are spade shaped for propulsion, kind of taking off, digging. So they can only go in a straight line. Front feet turn. Front feet are connected to the shoulder blade, which is not connected to the spine. It's only connected through muscles. The back leg is connected to the spine through the SI joint. So those feet have to follow in a straight line with the spine. But as far as angle, we don't want them up too high. If we raise angle too much, we put a lot of stress up here. If we lower them too much, we put a lot of stress on the hocks and the fetlocks. So I try to look for the same as I do in the front. I want the pastern and hoof angle to be the same, and I follow that from point of here to here, and I want that angle to match so that everything fits together, kind of like a puzzle.
You know, that sounds crazy, but one of the things I listen for when Aaron is chewing is how those nippers sound when he puts the clinch on them. Can you still feel me? That nipper makes a real popping sound. And that kind of tells me that hoof wall is pretty healthy. Just by listening to that nipper.
Yes, good healthy hoof wall is going to make a nice pop sound when you. No, where? Right here?
No, that other right in there.
It's just separation, kind of like he had on the front. feed. She's tight. We use a Con shoe. They're really good at replicating a handmade shoe, so they seem to fit really nice. Nail size, I always want to use the smallest nail possible. It's not as invasive into the hoof wall. You don't have as cracked nail holes and all that. So, Con, K-A-H-N. I think that's right. Hey, how do you spell Con?
Con shoes, K-A-H-N.
Yeah. Okay. We saw that separation in that foot, you know. But other than that, I like where her angle is there. You stand up straight. One more foot. There you go. So we got nice, pretty. Huh? Oh, we got a nice straight line there. Kind of feel like we got good heel length. I like where her angles are in the back. She's still got a little weak hoof wall that we got to get grown out. But other than that, it's coming along pretty good. I feel like that angle matches this angle pretty good. Well, I guess it's more this angle. You kind of see this line. We don't run a lot of heel back off on her. She likes full shoes, so. But.
Yep. Well, I know from our point of view as owners, Jennifer's kind of the rider on it, that we need a sound horse, and the horse is the feet. I mean, those feet it'd be like you gonna run a marathon in a spike heel. You're not shod properly for your event if you're gonna run a marathon. So we feel like Bixby's in really good hands with Aaron, and we just appreciate his wonderful eye that he can see such small, less than 1/8 of an inch type things down here, because it helps Bixby be happy with her feet.
You know, when it comes down to it, I'm honestly going to take Aaron's opinion over at my vets to a degree, because Aaron spends every day perfecting his craft, and he is invested in continuous learning and learning how to be a better shoer. He goes to seminars, he goes to competitions, he's constantly learning new methods. And so when it comes to, you know, if I go to the vet and the vet says, well, I want to put a wedge on this horse, then I go home and I tell Aaron the vet's suggestion, but then me and Aaron have a discussion about what's going to be the best thing for this horse, because there have been times that the vets their recommendations have actually made things worse. And so because of the quality and the class of shoer that Aaron is, I really value and trust his opinion when it comes to my horse's feet. And I feel like if you're going to pay a professional to do a job, then that's how you should feel about that professional. And so we just thank Aaron and Heather for coming and taking care of our horses and keeping their feet sound and really good and healthy. And so we just want to keep bringing y'all these videos. So be sure that you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ding that notification bell so that you can be notified when we post new videos, because we're going to try to keep this up. Y'all have a great afternoon.